Hello, this is Marshally and welcome to my garden diary. Today is the 25th of June 2021 and my oxeye daisies are open and blooming and looking really beautiful. So, a couple of years ago I almost gave up on these daisies. They were at another part of the garden and they weren't doing that well. I got a starter plant from my neighbor and yeah, it bloomed, but it didn't bloom for so long and the blooms didn't look so good, and the plant was not so tall. Right now this year it is over 100 centimeter tall, so it's quite tall. So I go down and yeah, so this is quite tall for this plant, and one of the reason why it has grown so well this year is good. It has established itself here. That's one, but two is that it got more water last year. So a tip if you want your oxeye daisy to grow tall and to bloom a lot, and the blooms here are quite large, and there are quite a lot of buds. So some are already open and there's some that are not open yet. And this plant goes around, yeah, so it's like a semicircle around the cherry tree, which was not the idea. Again, I did not do much planning when I planted this. Well, that too, I didn't do much planning, but I also did not expect it to grow this tall as well. I expected it to be maybe 50 centimeters, but not 100, not this tall. I never ever thought it, because I've never seen it this tall. So when I planted it, I didn't expect it to grow this tall. So what I'm going to do when it stops blooming, I'm going to put it over that side of the garden where there's a space there at the back. And so I think that will be a better location for it, because right now there's quite a lot going on around the cherry tree, and I would like, look at this. Those are they're all cherries on that, and they're just getting swallowed up by all the plants. And there's another branch there that has a lot of cherry, and they're just being hidden by all the other plants that are around it. So what I'll do when the oxeye daisy, when they're finished blooming, I'll cut it back. I think I'll do that in autumn, and I will relocate it to that position over there. Maybe in the first year after I've replanted it, it won't grow this tall, but now I know how tall it can get with the correct care. So what I'll do, I'll just make sure that I take care of it and that I'm patient and wait for it to get to this height again. And I think that's the thing with having a garden. Sometimes I buy small plants and they look small, and I tend sometimes to ignore the instructions that comes with plants sometimes, because sometimes depending on the soil or the position that you put the plants in, they don't really grow according to how they're supposed to grow. So as I said, I really did not expect this plant to grow so tall, because I have never seen it this tall, even though I've had it for about 5 years now. So yeah, so that's the thing. And good, I learn, and then it's also good that there are some things that I can always change it. Just means that I will start over a little bit and the plants will be set back just a little bit. But now I know how this plant can perform, and so I know where I can place it, and then I can just put it there and just leave it to yeah, to develop a good root system and to feel at home in the new place that I put it, and then it will also continue to perform there. So important thing is enough water and and enough light, and yeah, apart from that, that this is quite an easy plant. As I said, I wasn't taking care of it before as I should, and it still survived and has bounced back and is doing so well. So plants in general are very resilient. Unless something dramatic happens, like maybe a really bad drought or something eat it, then plants are more than willing to bounce back if they're given enough water. And I think that's the most important thing for plants that are outside in the garden, not in a pot or anything like that, is that they're given enough water. And okay, and if you have very cold winters, then of course you have to be careful with that as well. So not to dry out. Drought and cold are the two things that will surely kill plants. But if they're in between and they're half or hanging on to life, then you can always rejuvenate them by giving them the correct conditions that they need. So yes, so I'm not too worried that when I move these plants or this plant that it will not survive. I'm looking forward to seeing it over there next year. So at the moment I am sharing or the plant is sharing the space with my cherry tree, and of course some of the cherries I won't get because they're so low, it's quite moist in there, and so they're not getting as much sun, and of course insects can get to them more, and so some of those cherries will be definitely eaten by insects. But that's okay, there's enough there for everyone, and next year it will be better. Okay, so this plant has a creeping rhizome. So if it's planted, like when I am moving this in autumn, I can divide it and get more plants from it. So I can divide it and then put it at different places in the garden. And again, I just have to make sure that I give it enough water. So yeah, that's it for today. I'll leave you with that nice close-up of our oxeye daisy. Goodbye.